Welcome back to Money Mondays with DTV. Today's episode is going to focus on the dreaded credit cards. Have you heard of the snowball method? Basically, it's where you're paying minimum payments on all of your credit cards, but paying any extra money that you may have on the smaller balances. And then once you're done paying the smaller balances, you go to the next smallest balance and pay it off that way. And then basically all the money that you've used to pay the previous credit cards, you're now using to pay the next one in line. And while I don't think there's anything wrong, particularly with the snowball method, I prefer the avalanche method. And let me explain exactly what that means. The avalanche method is where you're making, again, the minimum payments on all of the credit cards, but instead of starting with the smallest balance, you're going to be focusing on the balances with the highest interest rate. Interest is the enemy. Interest means that you're paying way more for something than you would have paid if you would have just paid it cash. But I do understand that sometimes we have to use our credit cards, and that's okay. But the goal of this is to try and pay it off without paying an astronomical amount in interest. Because if you bought something for $100, you can easily pay about $1,000 for it if you take too long to pay it because of the interest. So with the avalanche method, what you want to do is you want to list all of your credit cards, due dates, balances, and the interest rates, and start with the highest interest rate at the top of the list and work your way down. To put it into perspective, let's say that you're paying the smallest balance, right? And you're paying, let's just say $75 a month. The highest balance with the highest interest has an interest rate where you're paying, let's just say $65 a month just in interest. By the time you pay the smallest balance in 4 or 5 months, that $65 a month is now costing you $260 in those 4 months that you took to pay off the smallest balance. Whereas if you're doing it the other way around, let's say your smallest balance has a better interest rate or has a 0% interest rate, which is ideal. Let's say your interest rate is let's say you're paying $10 a month in interest and you're paying 65 for the highest. So in those 4 months where you've now made a significant dent in the highest interest credit card, you're only paying $40 in interest for the credit card with the smallest interest rate. This is personally what's worked for me. I have an American Express that has a 0% interest rate for a certain amount of time, and I make minimum payments on that one while I'm making the most amount of payments on my Capital One card because it's the one with the highest interest. By the end of it all, I don't want to pay $10,000 for something that only costs me in reality $4,000. If you can avoid using credit cards, then that's what you want to do. Or if you're going to use it for the rewards, then at least pay them off before the statement date or before the due date. There's a lot of back and forth on which date is the best, but just make sure that you pay it off in full. That's the only way that you're going to avoid paying interest. You do not want to pay interest on something that you bought for a certain amount of money and then pay so much extra for it. It's not worth it. That's just free money that you're giving away. Credit cards are not the enemy. What's the enemy is when you misuse them and when you're irresponsible with them or when you don't pay them off. When you don't pay them off, that's when you start to get into a deeper hole. But if you're able to put things on your credit card, such as gas or groceries, something that you're going to be using cash for anyway, something that you're going to be using your debit card for anyway. Don't use credit to buy things that you can't afford, okay? Because that's how you're also going to keep yourself in a hole. If you do not have the cash for it today, do not buy it on credit. Wait until you have the money to buy it. But if you're using it for groceries, if you're using it for gas, things that you would buy anyway, use it, make those payments. You can make as many payments as you want in the month. There's a lot of rules around credit, and I'm not here to debate any of that, but I'm telling you what's worked for me. Okay. My credit shot up 100 points in the last year. I was able to buy my house on my own with no debt in my credit. So do I know what I'm 100% talking about? Probably not, but I know a little bit about what I'm talking about because I was able to do it. Follow me and leave your comments for more Money Monday tips with ETV and let me know what topics you would like me to cover. Again, I am not an expert in finances at all. I am just one woman trying to help you all figure it out just like I had to figure it out on my own.